Skater XL is not a new game. In fact, the Easy Day Studios skateboarding game has been on Steam Early Access since the end of 2018. However, it is now officially left Early Access and is available on consoles and Steam in a 1.0 version. Described on its Steam page as the evolution of skateboarding gameplay, the core premise of Skater XL is that left and right feet are independently controlled by the analog sticks on the controller in a move which pushes forward a more realistic skating simulation, but more on the control scheme later. Welcome back to Game Gentlemen, where this week we give you our review on Skater XL. For transparency's sake, we were not supplied a pre-release or review copy of the game and have purchased this on launch day out of our own pocket. We've put our playthrough of Ghost of Tsushima on hold to play through Skater XL this week and give you our thoughts. From a personal standpoint, I grew up skateboarding throughout my teenage years and have played just about every skateboarding game since the PS1 era, including bigger titles like Tony Hawk's and Skate, to the more niche titles like Street Skater and Thrasher Skate and Destroy. I've been starved for a proper skateboarding game this generation because, let's face it, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 didn't count, and I've been waiting for a successor to Skate 3. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and switch on notifications to stay up to date with our content. We also want to remind viewers that they still have time to enter in our Assassin's Creed Valhalla Collector's Edition competition. Stick around till the end of the video to find out how. As mentioned in our intro, Skater XL's unique selling point is that unlike the Tony Hawk series arcade-style button controls, or the Skate series flick controls, players control their avatar's left and right feet individually using the analog sticks. If a player wants to ollie, simply hold the right analog stick down and then release. Someone yells out "do a kickflip," then simply move the left analog stick left immediately after your ollie. What this means is that controls like steering or rotating in the air to the left and right are mapped to the trigger buttons and grabs are mapped to the shoulder buttons, which is handy if you hold your controller like this, less handy if you hold your controller like this. What it also means is unlearning the controls and mechanics of just about every single skateboarding game you've ever played. This creates a steep learning curve which I struggled with in the first few hours. Leaving my finger on the trigger button too long meant overshooting a rail or ledge, or forgetting to hit that same trigger at the end of a board slide meant landing sideways and ruining a trick. Even now, some 25 hours in, I still instinctively go to steer with the left analog stick, which only works if you're not loading up to do a trick. Skater XL doesn't really help in this regard, as the game throws you into a very light tutorial which only covers some of the fundamentals before throwing you straight into the game. While you can leave the controller visualization on screen, you learn more of the game's base mechanics through the game's challenge mode than you do through its tutorial. These challenge modes cover basic movesets to more advanced grab, grind, and manual combos, and line players up across key obstacles such as rails, stairs, and garden gaps. The challenges increase in complexity and form Skater XL's metagame. There is no overarching narrative or story mode to be seen in Skater XL. You start the game in the default school level before using the options menu to move on to one of the game's 5 core levels or 3 community-made levels developed by PC players during the game's early access period. The design of the 5 core levels is a little underwhelming, with the aforementioned school district and the downtown LA level, which was featured in trailers, being the biggest levels in both size and complexity. Other levels such as the West LA Courthouse and California Skate Park feel incredibly small by comparison, and in the case of the courthouse's design, are very sparse given a smaller footprint. The user-designed levels are also mixed in quality, with the 2 skate park levels, Hudland and Grant Park, beating out the streets level. From a physics perspective, Skater XL balances realism with video game mechanics. While you're not going to be running a 16-trick combo connected by a series of manuals and grinds before hitting a quarter pipe and launching 50 feet into the air like Tony Hawk, you will be able to kickflip down a 10-stair set while moving at a virtual crawl, or face a 2-story drop without shattering your kneecaps. When the game's physics work, and you can perfect that line you've been trying to pull for the past half hour, there is a deeply rewarding, satisfying feeling, much like the real thing. However, when you do bail on a trick, and believe me when I say you'll do this a lot, character movement feels clunky with physics that are less ragdoll and more action figure. Navigating the world also feels a little clunky with no ability to get off your board and run up a set of stairs to line up your next run, rather relying on the game's checkpoint system to move anywhere on the map. This checkpoint system will also automatically reset your starting position if you bail, which, on the bigger levels, may mean sending you all the way back to the other side of a level if you haven't set down new checkpoints along the way. During my time with the game, I also experienced technical issues related to clipping, infinite drops, player models freezing, frame rate dips, and lag throughout certain menus. I did notice frame rate issues were reduced when a new patch came out during the week, but many of the game's other technical problems didn't go away. I've spent a lot of time picking apart the things that I don't feel quite work in this game, but there are definitely elements where I think Easy Day have done incredibly well, and the soundtrack is one of them. With a varied lineup of artists including Silversun Pickups, Animal Collective, and Modest Mouse, we wish the soundtrack was a little bigger, as the loop of songs does come around pretty regularly, particularly on a longer play session, but credit must be given to Easy Day as a smaller studio that doesn't have an unlimited pool of cash to spend on music licensing. Additionally, character customization in the game is fairly reasonable, with players able to select one of 4 professional skateboarders or customize their generic male or female avatar with a range of skin tones, hairstyles, clothing, and gear options. We see major skate brands such as Independent, Element, DC, and Enjoy all represented here, and this is where you can see Easy Day have prioritized their focus on licensing agreements. In our Last of Us Part 2 review, we used a system of rate it or hate it to give our judgment on the game. However, we can't make such a definitive statement on Skater XL. While we don't hate the game, we can't exactly rate it as a must-buy either. You should buy this game if you have a history of skateboarding and want to relive your glory days, without being that weird guy at the skate park, you're a fan of grounded simulation-style games, or you have more of an affinity for the controls of Skate than those of Tony Hawk. You should not buy the game if you're not patient and willing to learn a new control scheme, your skateboarding game experience is limited to the Tony Hawk series, or you want to live some kind of skateboarding god power fantasy. Easy Day have created an ambitious skateboarding title in a genre which has been starving for quality content. Skater XL is the closest to real skateboarding that you'll probably get in a video game, not only in the sense that you'll spend a lot of time and attempts pulling off a new trick or a clean line, but also because you'll spend your early hours pulling off a trick much better than the one you intended, completely by accident. Skater XL's control scheme takes some getting used to, and those who have been faithfully playing this game on PC for the past year are no doubt rolling their eyes at this console kook. But in the same respect, there's something to be said about the instant playability of skateboarding games like the Skate series and Tony Hawk's, which make for a much more enjoyable pick up and play experience. With that being said, we'll continue to play this game, switching over and listening to a podcast when the soundtrack gets too repetitive. With Skater XL being the first of what feels like a new wave of skateboarding titles to come to consoles, it's a shame that it will likely be outshadowed by its bigger budget and more casual competitors. Now it's time for you to tell us what you think. Have you picked up the game for console? Have you been playing it for the past year? Leave your impressions on Skater XL in the comments section below. Before we wrap up, don't forget to get your entries into our Assassin's Creed Valhalla Collector's Edition competition. All you need to do is like this video, subscribe to our channel, and quote the creed, "Nothing is true, everything is permitted," in the comment section below. Additionally, if you share this video and tag us on Instagram or Facebook at Game Gentleman, you'll receive a bonus entry. We want to clarify that we'll be counting entries that share our YouTube videos, not our promoted Facebook post for additional entries. This has been Game Gentleman, and thanks for watching.